welcome back to Holmes Yoga. I'm Alex, and today we are going to be working on a short sequence that really is focusing on our feet and the way that we work with our feet and giving them a lot of attention and engagement. And the things that you'll need for today's practice are a light piece of fabric. I'm just working with an old tank top. Yoga block is great. If you don't have a yoga block as usual, you can use maybe like 2 textbooks or thick books, one stacked on top of the other. So our feet are foundational, and some of the muscles in our toes wrap up the lower leg, and they affect everything that happens up the chain, right? So really the things that are going on in our feet largely affect our lower back, and we're going to be playing with some of that stuff a little bit today. So, some people talk about the 4 corners of the feet. So big toe ball mound, pinky toe ball mound, inner heel and outer heel. I really like to think of a triangle of support in the foot. So more from the big toe ball mound across this transverse arch to the pinky toe ball mound. And then we have this arch, the medial arch of the foot, and the lateral arch going to this point here, like right in the front center part of the heel. So you can imagine, right, the larger bone, your tibia, where it would fall through the center of your foot would be about right there. And really grounding evenly through those 3 points of support in the foot. So, our feet have 2 major jobs, which is to receive the weight of the body and to move us through space. And things can get really stuck and sticky, and a lot of the shoes that we wear aren't great for our feet. Some of us really only spend time barefoot when we're on our yoga mats and when we're going to bed. So let's just start by giving our feet a little bit of attention. And, sit in any way that allows you easy access to your feet. You can sit in a chair and cross your ankle over your knee. That's fine as well. And just give yourself a little massage. All right. Pay attention to the ball of the foot, the toes, the arch, and the heel. The heel can typically take a little bit more pressure. And then you're going to hold between the big toe and the second toe and just kind of wiggle back and forth gently like this in this motion. And then between the second and third toe, taking some nice deep breaths down into the sole of the foot, between the third and fourth toe, wiggle, 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 and then between the fourth and fifth toe. Great, and then doing that on the other side as well. Sometimes it's also really nice to take your fist and then use these knuckles and this part of your hand to smooth down the arch of the foot. All right, and give some attention to the toes, the inner edge and the outer edge of the foot, and the heel. It could be really interesting too, just to note the difference before you massage your foot and after. After I do this practice, there's increased awareness and sensation and warmth. And when I put my foot on the floor, it feels wider and fluffier somehow. And then you're going to unstick your metatarsals really by just wiggling them back and forth gently. So between the first and second toe, then between the second and third toe, between the third and fourth toe, and between the fourth and fifth toe. All right. Then please make your way up to stand and take your piece of fabric and place it on the ground. And then step your right foot up, and you're going to use your toes to scrunch the fabric up. So I'm mirroring that action with my hand. Scrunch the fabric up underneath the arch of your foot. So lift and spread, lift and spread. So as you lift your toes, you're flaring them out like that as best you can. Just a few more times. 3, 2, and 1. And take a moment to feel the difference between your feet. I can even see a little bit of a difference in the color of my feet. And then you'll do that on your left foot. And it's interesting to notice too, if Yeah, it's easier to do this on one foot than the other. Like you can see my left foot is a lot more effective at this action than my right foot. Just a few more. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, I got that, the whole shirt there. Okay, so we're done with the fabric. You can just kind of toss it off to the side. And then stand with your feet all the way together. And lift and spread your toes. It's totally fine to look down at your feet. Lift and spread your toes so you can see the color of your mat between them all. And try to distribute the weight as evenly as possible from the big toe ball mound to the pinky toe ball mound back to the center of the heel. So you feel that triangle of support in each foot. And then lift, keep all of your other toes down, but lift your big toes up. And as you lift your big toes up, notice if you're rocking to the outer edges of your feet to do that. So try not to change the distribution of weight in your feet. Just lift your big toes up and put them down. And lift your big toes up. Try not to lift the other 4 toes and put them down. Now press your big toes down and lift your other 4 toes up. And then notice here if you're rocking the weight to the inside edges of the feet to do that. So again, stay heavy through the pinky toe ball mound, but lift the pinky toes. And then put all those other 8 toes down. Press your big toes down and lift the other 8 toes up. And put them down. Now lift all 10 toes up. And then just put your big toes down, lift them up, put the other 8 toes down, lift all the toes up. One more time, big toes down, lift your big toes up, put the other toes down, lift them up, and put all your toes down, but try to lay them down from the pinky toe to the 4th toe to the 3rd toe to the 2nd toe to the big toe. Now this is where we're going to use the block. So if you have larger feet, then you might need 2 blocks, work them like this, and then you'll stand on them like so. So the squishier the block, the more challenging it's going to be. So you're going to first just connect to those 3 points of support in your foot, and then come up to stand. It doesn't really matter what you do with your arms here. So just hover your left foot next to your right foot as if you were standing on top of a block on that foot as well. And then notice what one of my teachers calls the small dance. So the foot trying to find stability and always your center of gravity, trying to find itself in relationship to the center of gravity of the earth. And then point your toes. And then really slowly bend your standing legs. You're lowering your center of gravity. And then articulate the foot here. So the toes are going to hit first, and then the ball of the foot, and then the heel. So you don't want to lunge so far back that you can't get your heel down. Find those 3 points of support in the back foot. So the majority of your weight is still in the front leg. And then lift your back heel. Push off the ball of the foot. So we're kind of mimicking the action of walking here in that back leg. And then come up to stand. So notice where the weight is falling in that standing foot, right? And then again, lower your center of gravity, a little bit of a reach. Toes first, ball of the foot, and then the heel. And then lifting your heel, push off the ball of the foot, the toes leave last. So I can really feel a lot of work happening, not only in the arch of my foot, we'll do that 2 more times please, but also in the lower leg, and then all the way up to my glutes, right? Shift forward, ground through the heel, ground through the inner and outer edge of the foot. Have some connection to the core there so you don't want to flare the ribs. And then one more time, toe ball, heel on the back foot. And coming up to stand. Okay, this time you're going to lunge just a little bit further back. Okay, so majority of weight is in that front leg. This time start to lower that back knee, just, to whatever degree feels reasonable for you. Now I'd like for you to squeeze your back leg in over to the right side. So if your left foot is back, hug to the right, and then feel the connection between your inner heel all the way up the inside of your leg to your pubic bone. And then shift your weight forward. Keep your pelvis square. This time you're going to draw knee to navel. Find that tripod foot on the floating leg. Move that tripod foot through space. Point your toes. Reach back. Find your lunge. I've also heard this called carousel. And then hug your back leg to the midline. Maintain those 3 points of support in your front foot. connection to the core. A couple more breaths here. And then coming up, knee to navel. Try not to tuck your pelvis under. And then just extend your left leg next to your right leg. So again, it's as if you had your left foot on top of some blocks as well. Stay neutral through your pelvis. Maintain those 3 points of support in your right foot as you slowly move your left leg in a semicircle. And we're just going to do that one more time in this direction. So really working hard to maintain that stability of the standing leg by pressing through all 3 points of support in the foot. So I'm really feeling some, a little bit of burning even through some parts of the leg. And one more time to the back. So we switch directions 2 times to each side. And then slowly lower the foot down. Fantastic. So just so you have a different view, I'll turn to face you this time. Actually, maybe I'll go a little bit more on the diagonal. So this time left foot up on your blocks or books or whatever you've got. And pushing down to lift up. Pelvis is square. And flex the foot. Reach back. So still reaching up through the top of the head. Reach back. Bend the standing leg. Lower your center of gravity. Toes come down first. Then ball of the foot. Then the heel. Nice little cow stretch. Lift your heel first. Push off the ball of the foot. And coming up, you can always do this by a wall if you'd like a little bit of support with your balance, or also to have a chair in front of you is not a bad idea. Toe, ball, heel. The slower you go, the more challenging it is. Notice where the weight is falling in that left foot. So I'm feeling a little bit more wobbling happening on this side. Reaching back. Toe, ball, heel on the back foot. Really making contact, so it's fine to have a very narrow, short lunge stance, no problem. Heel lifts, push off the ball of the foot, lift your toes. And one last time. Really try to slow down your descent. And last time, lifting up. So this time you're going to reach back. Toe, ball, heel. The heel stays lifted. Bend your knee. Once you've found your edge, squeeze your back leg over to the opposite side and feel the connection between the inner heel all the way up your inner thigh to your pubic bone. And then rise, push off the back foot, draw knee to navel. Imagine that you're pushing the foot that's in the air, pushing that into something, so you still have those 3 points of support alive and awake and connected and working. One more time, reach back. And then lower the back knee. Doesn't have to be super low, just to where you feel like you're working in a good place. So not super easy, but not so hard that you can't sustain it. Hug the back leg to the midline. So you're doing the action without the movement, right? Just another breath. Hello, quads. And then lifting up. Whew, hello, glutes, as I push down through all 3 points of support in that standing foot. Knee to navel. And then hover the right foot next to the left. Firm through the glutes, standing tall, hips are level, and then 2 of those semicircles in one direction. So not a whole lot of wiggling in your pelvis or shifting weight, because you're so anchored through the standing leg, through the foot that's against the blocks. And then twice in the other direction. And then release. Okay. All right, so just stand evenly in mountain pose for a moment in Tadasana. Spread your toes and notice what you feel, the sensations that you have. Your feet, your toes, maybe your ankles and lower legs are feeling some sensation as well. Maybe your glutes and your core. So I hope that was helpful for you. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoy this, I teach a live practice every Monday at 5 p.m. on Instagram Live. That might change in the future, but for now, that's the public offering that I have. And don't forget to subscribe. Talk to you soon.